Swastiastu. Let me present our student project from SGDB6, which is air quality and its effect on acute respiratory disease. And here is our student team members. And let me start with chapter one. And before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Remla Rudianto with class digit number 161, and now I will present about chapter one. So the first one is a background. Air quality has become critical public health concern as millions of people are exposed to hazardous pollutants that severely impact respiratory health. Key airborne pollutants such as fine particulate matter, which is PM 2.5, nitrogen dioxide, ozone, and sulfur dioxide contribute to the exacerbation of acute respiratory disease, including asthma, pneumonia, and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Among these pollutants, PM 2.5 is particularly harmful due to its ability to penetrate deep into the lungs, causing inflammation and impairing lung function. Globally, air pollution is responsible for millions of premature deaths annually, with a significant proportion linked to respiratory disease, particularly in regions with persistent pollution such as Southeast Asia and the Eastern Mediterranean. Addressing the issue requires stringent air quality controls, effective policy intervention, and public health initiatives aimed at raising awareness of the risks associated with air pollution. Even modest improvement in air quality can lead to a significant reduction in respiratory-related hospitalization and death. And the next one is problem formulation. So there's three problem formulation here, which is the first one is what are the standards, monitoring methods, and the key pollutants that impact air quality. The second one is what are the causes of air pollution, and the third one is what are the health impacts of air pollution on acute respiratory disease. And this is the objective, which is to know the standards, monitoring methods, and key pollutants that impact air quality. The second one is to understand the causes of air pollution, and third one is to comprehend the health impacts of air pollution on acute respiratory disease. And the last one is benefits, which is the first one is to enhance students' understanding of the relationship between air quality and acute respiratory disease. And the second one is to improve knowledge of key pollutants that impact air quality, examine the standards and monitoring methods for air quality, and explore the health effect of air pollution on acute respiratory conditions. And the last one is to provide valuable insight and serve as a reference for future research on the impact of air quality on respiratory health. That's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Karalika with the last three digits of student number 246, and I'll open the presentation for chapter 2. Starting from air quality overview, definition and key pollutants. Air quality is an important indicator to assess the level of pollution in the atmosphere and can be significantly worsened by climate change because rising global temperatures will increase the concentration of pollutants in the atmosphere. Some of the key pollutants are fine particles, which are small enough that can penetrate deep into the respiratory tract and reach the alveoli, and then there is ozone, which are formed from the chemical reaction of sunlight with other pollutants in the atmosphere, and there are sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide that can trigger bronchoconstriction, increase respiratory infection, and aggravate acute respirations. And then last, there are carbon monoxide that can cause respiratory problems such as tissue hypoxia and increase susceptibility to acute respiratory disease. That is all from me. Thank you.
My name is Igdiriana Naranathan with the student number 1933, and I will explain about the air quality standards and regulation. The air quality standard and regulation are essential for protecting public health and environment. For instance, China's Air Pollution Prevention and Control Action Plan from 2013 to 2017 significantly reduced PM and SO2 levels, improving air quality and health outcomes. Many countries use WHO guideline as benchmark for their national ambient air quality standard or NAAQS. Aligning national standards with this recommendation ensure better public health protection. However, some regions like Eastern Mediterranean have shown disparities in the standards, emphasizing the need for global harmonization. That's all from me. The next part will be continued by my friend. Thank you.
My name is Giancarlo Susteja with the last three-digit name 080, and I'm going to present about air quality monitoring methods. Air quality monitoring methods can be divided into older and more recent methods. Some examples of the older methods to measure sulfur dioxide include pyrosanilin or Westgate method, iodometry, turbidimetry, and colorimetry. And to measure ozone, we can use chemiluminescence on I3 spectrum using a reaction between ethylene and iodide. And the last one is to measure atmospheric sedimentable dust We can compare the weight before and after using an oil or Vaseline coated sheet, and while we expose it to the outside air. And more recent methods include beta attenuation, tapered element oscillating microbalance, ultraviolet fluorescence, chemiluminescence, UV absorption, and gas filter correlation. Here is a figure showing the types of air quality monitoring technologies divided to manual, automatic, and semi-automatic monitoring. Manual monitoring includes high-volume air samplers or 3 or 5 gas sampling devices. Meanwhile, semi-automatic monitoring includes unmanned aerial vehicles or UAV, and automatic monitoring include compact sampling devices and sensors.
My name is Zevanya Rini Natalie Pranoto, with three last digits of student number 166, and I will explain about the causes of air pollution, specifically urbanization and traffic emissions. Air pollution has become an increasingly critical issue as urbanization accelerates and vehicle usage rises globally. Urbanization, characterized by the expansion of cities and increased population density, significantly contributes to air pollution through various mechanisms. One of the primary ways urbanization impacts air quality is through the concentration of industrial activities and residential areas in close proximity. One major consequence of urbanization is the exacerbation of the urban heat island effect that causes higher temperatures in urban areas, which intensifies the formation of ground level ozone and other secondary pollutants. And another one is traffic emissions, which are another major contributor to urban air pollution, releasing pollutants such as carbon monoxide, volatile organic compounds, and nitrogen oxides. These emissions are particularly problematic in urban areas where traffic congestion is prevalent, leading to higher concentrations of pollutants in the atmosphere. And the long term exposure to traffic related air pollution, or TRAP, is strongly linked to adverse health outcomes, including increased risk of all cause mortality, asthma, circulatory disease, ischemic heart disease, and lung cancer.
My name is Tiffany Cecilia with three last digit number 170, and now I will explain about the industrial emissions and agricultural practices. So industrial emissions are one of the leading sources of air pollutant, particularly in urban and industrialized areas. Factories, power plants, and other industrial facilities release a wide range of pollutants into the air, including sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, particulate matter, volatile organic compounds, and carbon monoxide. These pollutants are often the byproducts of combustion processes, especially those involving the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas. While industrial emissions are often highlighted as major contributors to air pollution, agricultural practices also have a substantial impact. Agriculture contributes to air pollutant through the use of fertilizer, pesticides, and animal husbandry. These activities release ammonia, methane, and nitrous oxide into the atmosphere, which can lead to various environmental and health issues.
Thank you for the opportunity given. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ingela Felicia Simarangkir with the last digit of my student ID is 09. I'd like to explain about natural and seasonal factors. Interactions between seasonal and environmental factors affect the concentration and distribution of air pollution. Particulate matter, sulfur dioxide, and other pollutants can be significantly emitted into the atmosphere by volcanic eruptions, wildfires, dust storms, and other natural events. For instance, by releasing ash and gases, volcanic eruptions can momentarily increase sulfur and ash particulate levels, which can have an impact on the air quality across a large area. Wildfires increase the levels of PM 2.5 and CO, which may negatively impact the air quality for a long period of time, especially in regions that regularly experience high temperatures and dry weather. The levels of air pollution can also be significantly influenced by seasonal fluctuations. Due to increased heating activities, which frequently involves the burning of fossil fuels that release pollutants like nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds, air pollution tends to intensify during the winter months in many places. That's all from me. The next slide will be presented by my colleague. Thank you.
First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Erika Luis with three last digit of student number 089. Now I'm going to present about the mechanism of pollutant effects on respiratory health. Pollutants have both direct and indirect harm that negatively impact respiratory health. One of the most harmful types of air pollution is particulate matter. Reactive oxygen species and pro-inflammatory cytokine production are triggered by inhaled tiny particles such as PM2.5, which results in oxidative stress and inflammation. First, oxidative stress can potentially impair the body's natural defense system, worsening pre existing respiratory problems and increasing vulnerability to infections. In addition to oxidative stress, pollutants can activate various cellular pathways, resulting in airway remodeling. The remodeling process can lead to increased mucus production, decreased airway flexibility, and thicker airway walls, constricting respiratory pathways. Studies have demonstrated that pollutants like ozone and nitrogen dioxide can cause harm to the epithelial cells. Lastly, pollutants can potentially disrupt the immune system by causing dysregulation in the functioning of immune cells. For example, diesel exhaust particles can change the functioning of dendritic cells and macrophages that might worsen conditions like asthma and allergic rhinitis. That's all from me. Next slide will be presented by my colleague. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Fernando Gosali and my last digit of the number is 036. Now I'll explain about the health impact on air pollution on acute respiratory infection. So, health impact of air pollution on acute respiratory infections. There are some. The first one is inflammation and oxidative stress. Exposure to air pollutions can induce inflammation and oxidative stress in the respiratory tract. This weakens immune system and making individual more susceptible to infections. The second is impaired lung function. Pollutants such as PM2.5 can penetrate deep into lungs, impairing lung function and reducing the body's ability to clear pathogens. And the third one is increased antimicrobial use. Short-term exposure to high level of air pollution has been associated with increased use of antimicrobial for treating acute respiratory symptoms. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Saifulinda Agustini with last 3 digits 750 and I'll explain about the asthma exacerbation. Multiple epidemiological studies have established a clear association between exposure to elevated levels of air pollutants and worsening of asthma outcomes. There are various air pollutants that are proven in the cases linked to asthma exacerbation, such as nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, particulate matter, traffic-related air pollution, and ozone. The nitrogen dioxide has an exposure mechanism that contributes to airway inflammation and can impair lung function. Nitrogen dioxide and with carbon monoxide both are positively correlated with asthma exacerbation in adults and children. Next is the particulate matter. Particulate matter 2.5 can penetrate deep into the lungs, triggering local inflammation and immune responses. This infiltration activates various immune cells such as dendritic cells and macrophages, which release reactive oxygen species and pro-inflammatory cytokines, leading to airway inflammation and hyperresponsiveness. Exposure to TRAP has been linked to impaired lung development and increased asthma prevalence. Meanwhile, the ozone can induce oxidative stress, leading to airway inflammation, exacerbated asthma symptoms, even before significant inflammatory responses are activated. Mechanism of pollution-induced exacerbation overall comes from the exposure to air pollution that triggers oxidative stress in the lungs. This leads to increased production of reactive oxygen species, lung injury, and activation of inflammatory pathways, resulting in airway hyperresponsiveness, which in most cases, children's rate are more vulnerable due to their higher respiratory rate, immature respiratory system, and greater exposure to outdoor air. That is all from me. Thank you.
First, let me introduce myself. My name is Tadisa Putrita with real digit number 005, and today I will present about COPD. So, COPD is a progressive non-communicable respiratory system disease, and in 2022, COPD has ranked as the third most common cause of death worldwide. Global Initiative for Chronic Obstructive Lung Disease has stated that the occurrence of real-life events to exposure to gases or pollutant can contribute to the development of COPD in later life. PM2.5 and nitric oxide can cause airway and lung parenchyma to inflame, and this will also cause oxidative stress to produce. If oxidative stress is being produced, it will lead into progressive airway remodeling and lung tissue damage. Besides that, PM2.5 and nitric oxide can also cause
genetic damage, which all of this leading to the development of COPD. A study also emphasized that the exposure to PM 2.5 during first 16 weeks of pregnancy can be associated with the declining of lung function in the fetal. The UK Biobank has shown strong association between risk of low lung function in high-risk population, which is people with low income, workplace with a lot of dust, people with obesity, and smokers. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Fanny Putukrina Chandra with my last three-digit name R240, and now I'll present you about the topic 2.3.5 vulnerable population. So the air quality plays a critical role in the health vulnerable population, particularly concerning acute respiratory diseases. Key group at heightened risk include the first one is children, because of their developing lungs make them particularly sensitive to air pollutant like particulate matter and nitrogen dioxide. Second one is elderly. Age-related psychological changes increase their susceptibility to respiratory issues. And third one is individual with pre-existing condition. Those with asthma or COPD are more severely affected by poor air quality. The last one is low-income communities often experience disproportionate exposure to air pollutants due to their proximity to industrial sites and heavy traffic. Also, limited access to healthcare. Thank you.
My name is Pastana Trikira with the last digits of student ID number is 199, and today I will talk about the conclusion of this presentation. In this student project, we have explored that multifaceted aspect of air quality and its effect on respiratory diseases. Our study emphasized that poor air quality caused by urbanization, traffic emissions, industrial activities, agricultural practices, and natural factors can have significant health impacts. These impacts include acute respiratory diseases, asthma exacerbations, and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. The risks of these diseases are heightened in vulnerable populations such as children, the elderly, and those with pre-existing health conditions. That's all for our presentation, and thank you.